So I walk in here this morning.
Mm-hmm.
All right, it's still enveloped in darkness. Cone's in wardrobe with the lion and the witch. And the golden tumbler's gone. And something's in there. And I don't know what it is. But it looks like a note, and I'm going to read it. And I got a good feeling who left it. The commissioner I heard was going to stop by last night. But who took the golden tumbler? Was it you?
I have to assume Blaine took the thing. Either that
No,
or
one of you took it.
I didn't take it. I am
where's
claiming
the
the
tumbler?
championship. I did not take the
Look at me
tumbler.
real quick. Just look at me real
I did not take the tumbler.
This
I can
has you
assume
written
two
all
things.
over it, David.
I can
Where's the
assume two
tumbler?
things. Either you took the tumbler because you're afraid of this ruling,
Okay.
or the commissioner somehow took it and
go
placed his
assume it
ruling in
again.
there
Well,
and is going to
look,
somehow.
I've
You
watched.
assumed yourself 30 random points or something like that. Where's the
Look,
tumbler?
I've
it has
watched.
nothing to
I've
do with points.
watched
I'm just
it.
assuming
Where
championship. I'm
is the
champion.
tumbler?
I didn't take the tumbler.
First of all, you're about to have 2 children.
What have you done?
Probably time to grow up a little bit.
What have you done? Because we left at the same time last night.
Like,
I saw y'all.
watched you guys leave.
I was out here
passed
before
on the
you were.
interstate.
Yeah.
I was out here before you were in the car driving by.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So
now
here's
there's
my
accusations.
theory.
Okay, well, why don't you go ahead and include this situation?
Accusations.
Now, are you making an accusation or are you making what's the one that's more serious where you
On
can
in clue,
Yeah.
accusation
What
or
is the one?
observation?
Suggestion?
A suggestion.
Yeah, are you making a suggestion or an accusation?
Yeah.
Go
No,
ahead.
I'm accusing you of stealing
Okay.
the golden
All
tumbler.
right,
Not even
you're
that.
gonna
I
find
know
out.
you did.
Guys,
We'll find out.
here's the way I'm looking at this. I've watched enough, Murder on the Orient Express, Death on the Nile, Sherlock Holmes, all that stuff, to have a couple theories. Number one, why would David take it? Well, David feels like he got slighted. His players didn't get to play. Now, also, Michigan got beat in the semifinal by TCU. They
Irrelevant.
just Got absolutely
Irrelevant.
Didn't get to play.
Absolutely.
Objection,
How do you
Your
play
Honor.
wrong?
Can I
Didn't
finish?
get to
Can I
play.
finish?
Objection, Your
Pretty sure I
Honor.
Can
saw
I
him on the
finish?
field playing.
Can I finish?
Yeah, and they scored 40 points week 18.
So I
Week
understand,
18.
David, if you're going to try and, pull a kidnap the president's son situation with the tumbler.
Well, I would be drinking out of it. I have
No,
mine.
look, again,
I would be drinking out of it.
I'm not
'cause it's
accusing
mine.
you. I'm just looking at the.
If I took it, it makes sense because I won.
If Blaine, again, we know how competitive Blaine is, and that's great.
Yeah, and how mischievous.
I don't have
But-
to. I don't have to take anything. The only thing I have to do
Where'd you hide
is
it?
get my phone, pull up the app, and it calls me a champion.
Blaine does.
Like
Blaine
that.
does have the steady hands to pull off a procedure
You
like
mean
that.
like an Ocean's 11 situation?
You know me. If I'm taking something, I'm making an entrance with it. I promise you that 100%.
Well,
I'm
we're
not
gonna find
hiding
That
and
is-
dwelling
that
in the
is kinda
background.
true.
Well, we're going to find out. Again, are you Team Blaine or are you Team Cone in this whole situation? I'm going to read that at some point during the show today, and we're going to see, because maybe the person who took it left that note. If you don't
If they
know,
left it right there, they have to have possession, right?
they have to have
Or
possession, right?
the only other thing.
What do they say? What's 90% of the law?
The
It's
only other
possession.
thing
right?
is
We're going to see.
that one.
We're going to see. The Georgia Bulldogs dominated TCU 65-7 to complete their perfect season and win back-to-back natties. Kirby Smart's going to single-handedly bring the bowl cut back. The NFL playoffs are set, and we're going to break down each matchup. And the Arizona Cardinals send Kliff Kingsbury off a one and fire him after just a couple seasons. I'm Jake Crane, and welcome to Crane & Company. Every year, we get on the show, and college football fans and people in sports media talk about which conference is the best. And it really falls into two categories. Either you think the SEC is the best conference, or you think the SEC is overrated. So I'm coming to you once again with just the numbers. And I get accused of SEC bias because I'm from the state of Alabama. But listen, I could be from where Kroger started. I still understand that Walmart is more dominant. Okay, just because you're born somewhere doesn't mean you're wrong for looking at the true numbers. So last night, after Georgia pulled down TCU's pants in front of God and everybody at the high school and won 65-7, it gave the SEC its 14th national championship in the last 23 years. So since 2000, the SEC has won 14 of them. An argument that people make is, oh, well, it's just Alabama. Are one team, are two teams. Wrong again. 4 different SEC teams now have won the national championship twice. That's right, 4, okay? LSU, Florida, Georgia, and Alabama. In that same span of time, we've seen Auburn win a national championship. Ohio State's won it twice. Clemson's won it twice. Those 2 teams are in a different conference. So regardless, that doesn't mean that the SEC is going to continue this dominance forever. But how many times must the SEC win the national championship and then the NFL draft for some of you people in the sports media world to just be humble and sit down, okay, to quote Kendrick Lamar? The SEC is the juggernaut of college football. That's how it is right now. But you look at the Pac-12, who's on the come up, with it seems like every quarterback coming back. Bo Nix, Michael Penix Jr., Cam Rising. I can literally go down the list. Caleb Williams, the Heisman winner. You look at the Big 12, who just sent a team to the national championship. Now, maybe they can get a first-round pick in the NFL draft, but even with Texas and Oklahoma leaving, there seems like Kansas State, TCU, we know what Baylor's done with Dave Aranda. The Big 12 has kind of come back from the dead, similar to the Pac-12. You look at the ACC. There's some question marks there, but Florida State looks really good. You know Clemson's going to be good as long as Dabo keeps praying. Wake Forest lost Sam Hartman. It's going to get interesting. How deep can that conference get? And then with the Big Ten, you look at Ohio State and Michigan and their dominance. Penn State coming off a big year, and they got a really good quarterback in Drew Aller that's replacing Sean Clifford there. So college football is healthy. You can say that on one hand, and then on the same hand, say, listen, the SEC is just dominant, because it is right now. And last night was an exclamation point. And like the great philosopher Little Tunechi said, men lie, women lie, and numbers don't lie. I'm going to go ahead and bring in my co-host, former Michigan quarterback, guy who did a really good job betting last night. Guys, we hit a lot of live bets last night.
It was fun.
The kid walked away from last night up $275. Okay, and that's without me putting the money on Georgia over 51 points at plus 500. But we're not going to bring that up again because I was talked out of it by someone I love very much and I'm excited to see after the show. But David, again, what Michigan's doing is very impressive with Jim Harbaugh. You look at the way Ohio State played Georgia. And that's why you can't use the transitive property in these games. TCU beats Michigan. Georgia sneaks by Ohio State. Georgia destroys TCU. The transitive property should stay in the math classroom. But when you look at college football, 14 out of 23 is 61%. If you have one conference, I don't care if it's basketball, I don't care if it's football, baseball, hopscotch, that thing you do with the Chinese finger trap, you're winning 61% of championships. It's pretty daggum good.
No, it is. And your numbers add up to right about the time I was entering college, because what the SEC has done for those 14, 15 years is just truly extraordinary. But it wasn't like that when I was growing up.
Yeah.
When I think of the most dominant college football programs in the dynasties when I was growing up, my mind immediately thinks of Miami, early 2000s, Southern California right after that, Florida State, late 90s with Chris Winkie and the guys, Nebraska, mid-90s. None of those teams are in the SEC. So it wasn't really like that so much when I was growing up. But beyond just the SEC, I just want to focus in on Georgia. You don't win back-to-back national championships by having one good recruiting cycle. You don't even do it by making one right coaching hire. The only way a program can do something like this is to have a complete dedication to excellence. And this goes way, way back. When I think of that Georgia G, I think of Vince Dooley and what he was able to do to set the foundation for this. His assistant coaches like Irk Russell before he went to Georgia Southern, passing that baton on to Mark Richt. I don't think it can be overstated, despite the fact that Mark Richt didn't win a national championship at Georgia, just how much the current success we're seeing for the University of Georgia is owed to Mark Richt for taking care of that program and operating at such a high level, not only on the field, but what he was able to do with graduating players. His players rarely got in trouble. They were disciplined well. Mark Richt, a heck of a coach. And then Kirby Smart, all he's done since he's been in is turned on the screws, poured gasoline on this thing, and taken it straight to the top. And I'm very interested to watch how a man acts when he's trying to make it to the top. But then I'm equally as interested to see how a man acts once he's reached the top. And we saw, take a team like 2019 LSU, as impressive as it gets on the football field. And that success led to quite the destruction of Coach Ed Orgeron. both professionally and personally in the aftermath after an undefeated 2019 season. All Kirby Smart has done since winning the national championship is button down and said, that's not enough. We need to come in every day with a mindset that we're going to be the best team in college football. Now they repeat as national champions. Now, I have some bad news for the Georgia fans. You're not going to win every championship from now to the rest of existence. It feels like that right now in the aftermath. You're not going to win every game, and the first loss that does happen, there's going to be an Alabama effect. How did we lose a football game? But on the other side of that, bad news for college football is Kirby Smart's not going anywhere anytime soon. Yeah. And there's a monster in Athens.
There is. And Blaine, you saw Nick Saban on set last night.
Yeah.
If you're Nick Saban, it's such an interesting situation to me because, Kirby Smart is basically your protege. Well, one of your top protege. Really, it was Kirby Smart. It was Jeremy Pruitt. There's been a couple other guys. But if you're Nick Saban right now and you're as old as he is and you're watching what Kirby is doing and you've watched the game change with NIL and the transfer portal and things like that, do you think Saban comes back 3 times as hard as he's been going? Or is this something where it's I'm just proud of Kirby. I've won mine. I still want to win. But that competitor in Nick Saban deep down, I feel like it just kind of burns him up a little.
Yeah, I don't think it has to be Kirby Smart is what pushes Nick Saban to go harder or in recruiting or what he does. I think
Georgia.
I think Nick's going to be Nick no matter. Nick's worried about himself and his program. That's what Nick's worried about. He's not worried about Georgia. He's not worried about this or that. That's what makes Nick so great. If anything, obviously hates losing, but he has to be somewhat happy to see this. I mean, Kirby was basically like a son to this man when he played there. It's like watching your kid grow up. You finally turn into the Jedi everybody thought you were. And let's think about one thing. Georgia's a young football team. Other than Stetson, who's like 36, they're bringing almost everybody back on that team. Yeah. Brock Bowers is coming back. I mean, everyone who's going to be in the league probably next year is coming back on that team. So no, I don't think Nick looks at Kirby and says we have to push harder here. There's a blueprint Nick Saban's always stuck by. That's why he's been so successful throughout the years, and that's what Kirby Smart's doing. You can see he's building it from the inside out, and it starts with recruiting. The apple didn't fall far when it comes to Nick and Kirby. Now Kirby still has some work to do to get where Nick is. I don't know if he'll ever get there, but they're on the right track. But right now, Georgia is dominating college football. And I don't really see that changing in the next couple of years. Are they going to win the Natty every year? Obviously, no. Alabama's going to be there. Michigan's going to be there. There's going to be certain teams there. But right now, Georgia is the top dog, no pun intended.
Yeah, no, for sure, 100%. And when it comes to the top dog of betting, with the NFL's regular season wrapped up, it means it's time for the playoffs. So everybody get excited. It starts this Saturday with the wild card. We're going to be breaking it down like Michael Jackson in a Sudoku puzzle. All right, but my go-to place for the wild card round action is DraftKings Sportsbook. They're an official betting partner of the NFL. And to kick off the road to Super Bowl 57, new customers can bet just $5 and get $200 in free bets instantly. All right. Plus, all new and existing customers can get a no sweat bet each day of the wild card round this weekend. Just place any NFL bet of your choice, and if it loses, you'll get a free bet back up to $10. The action's so good. Why bet the NFL playoffs anywhere else? You got fast and easy payouts. It's easy to navigate. I love the same game parlays. You're talking about yesterday. You look at the live betting that we did. Absolutely just raked in some bread. It's a bakery in here. But you need to download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use our code BOOSTER. We are trying to get you free stuff. So download it now. Again, new customers, if you go download it and use our code BOOSTER, can bet $5 on the NFL, get $200 in free bets instantly only at DraftKings Sportsbook with code BOOSTER. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See show notes for details. We're going to be tweeting out some bets from the Crandon Company account. Maybe parlay here, parlay there, looking at when and looking at where. So make sure you download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Let's get to the Booster Club, the greatest grassroots movement of all time.
All right, let's go to Xavier Manley with the $3 donation.
How manly of you, Xavier?
He says, over and under on Stetson finding another year of eligibility. There is no way.
Yeah.
This man comes
no
back
chance.
Another year.
No chance. Again, if you're Stetson, why? Why? You know, and I say that, but last year I was like, man, it's all downhill from here. You just go out into the pasture. Didn't you win 2? What did Red Bayou, famous coach from Louisiana who lost to SCLSU in the Bourbon Bowl, say? You know what my daddy said? The only thing better than one crawfish dinner
is 2 crawfish dinners.
That's exactly right.
Let's go to Chris E. with a $2 donation. Appreciate it, Chris. He said, who's more upset after last night, OSU or the University of Michigan?
It's got to be Michigan.
You think so?
It's got to be Michigan. Look, here's the situation. Ohio State played really well against Georgia, and Georgia played okay. Let's be honest. Georgia played okay against Ohio State, and Ohio State played really well, in my opinion. C.J. Stroud had one of the best games I've ever seen him, especially in a big game. Michigan handed that game to TCU. Let's make no buts. And I don't want to take anything away from what TCU accomplished. But you fumble the ball inside the 1 yard line. You throw 2 pick sixes. You turn the ball over basically in the red zone. To everything that had to happen that Michigan had to help TCU with, they did. Now, they made it a game at the end, and TCU made the plays. All right, the missed tackle on the drag route that goes for 70 yards. Very uncharacteristic things. The difference between Michigan and Georgia is, outside of the depth on the roster, is that when Michigan didn't play well, they weren't able to overcome it. When Georgia didn't play great or perfect, they were able to overcome it and then play well. What you saw last night was Georgia playing very well, complementary football in all 3 phases. TCU, in my opinion, didn't play just horrible. They didn't play good, but Georgia played really well, and they forced their will onto TCU. And TCU went down and scored, and the minute they fumbled that ball and Georgia recovered it when it was 17-7, because remember, it was 10-0. TCU was doing nothing offensively. TCU, great drive. They're running the ball, inside zone, split zones working, down the field, touchdown, 10-7. Georgia right back down the field, ... And then TCU's moving the ball, right? Moving the ball to try and go make it 17-10 or 17-14 and get closer. And then you fumble it. Game was over at that point.
So that's interesting because I see it the other way. I think OSU's kicking themselves a little bit more because while Michigan is looking at this, shaking their heads like, I cannot believe we lost to this TCU team, I think in the back of their minds there's this idea that, okay, with that dominating performance, beating Georgia was going to be an uphill battle. Now, it was going to be a rematch. I think we could have done a better job than TCU, but, it still likely would have led to a championship loss more than likely. Whereas on the OSU side of things, you had the better team beat, up by 14, even into the 4th, and you have to think OSU likes their chances to win the national championship against that TCU team.
For sure.
So to me, I think they're kicking themselves even more with having the champion on the road, all but beat. Really, it comes down to a couple plays. The Brock Bowers extension on the first down when he kept his knee up. I don't know if Georgia wins if he doesn't get that first down by 6 inches. The timeout call on the 4th down when OSU was going to get that, just a couple calls right there changed the fact from what I think could have been a Buckeye championship after what I saw from TCU yesterday, which would have completely switched the narrative from, 8 weeks ago when everyone wanted to fire Ryan Day.
That's exactly right.
All right, let's go to James Stalling with the $2 donation.
Thank you, James.
Says, has anyone looked at Georgia's schedule next year? Yeah, they're not losing.
Yeah, let's pull it. Can we pull that up? Can we pull that up? I know they go to Auburn, which we'll see with Hugh Freeze. You're going to talk about quarterbacks and who's going to be the guy at Georgia. Then you're looking at Alabama. It's an interesting time in the SEC. If you look at the SEC, it's almost the inverse of the Pac-12 going into this year. The Pac-12 seems like they're returning every quarterback. Bama loses Bryce Young. Georgia loses Stetson Bennett. Tennessee loses Hendon Hooker. I mean, so really 3 of your top teams. Let's see what Spencer
Florida,
Rattler
Anthony
does.
Richardson.
Florida loses Anthony Richardson. So it's an interesting time for the SEC from a quarterback standpoint. Who's going to be that person that takes the mantle not only at Georgia but at Alabama and some of these other places?
All right, got schedule right here. You start off with a tough one. You got UT Martin Skyhawks.
Absolute murder.
Then you go, you got Ball State at home.
Another murder.
South Carolina at home.
By the way, before you say anything, did y'all see where the Ball State running back, the Carson Steele guy, transferred? Where did he transfer to? UCLA?
UCLA?
The white guy with the long
the
hair?
alligator?
Yeah.
Really?
Transferred to UCLA. What? Imagine going from Ball State to UCLA.
Yes.
You talk about different environment. Yes. I'd have committed the instant the plane entered the air of where we were, and I would have just absolutely said, all right, Ball State, listen, thanks for the memories, Fallout Boy style, even if they weren't so good.
All right, you got South Carolina at home.
Win.
All right, you got UAB at home.
Win.
You got 2 Auburn.
Probably a win.
Win. Kentucky at home.
Probably a win.
Yo, 2 Vandy.
A murder.
Florida at home.
Win.
Well,
Missouri at home.
Florida and Jacksonville.
Yeah, Florida and Jacksonville.
Excuse me.
Yeah, Missouri.
Win.
Win.
Ole Miss at home.
Win.
Yo, 2 Tennessee. Win. It's a win.
I wouldn't say
Joe Milton's
2
not gonna throw
Tennessee.
the ball
Yeah,
game.
let's see. Joe Milton, it looked a lot better in the bowl game. I got to see it. a little bit more, but I mean, let's not count.
I don't have to
Tennessee
see
on
it.
right now.
Joe Milton's not going to beat Georgia.
Okay.
Then you go
Bo
to
Wallace beat Alabama.
then you go to Georgia Tech.
Murder.
There it is.
Yeah, Georgia's going to be.
I don't know if Georgia Tech will murder them.
I mean,
You don't think so, Dave? Come on, dude. Jeff Collins is back.
That Tennessee game.
Oh, that's our boy, though.
Yeah, look, we love Hefe.
Too soon.
All right, let's go one more for the Booster Club here.
All right, let's go to Ethan Williams. What's up, Ethan? If that's your picture on there, man, I can't look at it, but it looks whatever costume you got on looks great. $10 donation from Ethan. Appreciate it, E. You think it'll become more rare to see defenses like Georgia has had the past few years? So many players entering the portal instead of waiting their turn in a system.
Again, if you're Georgia, you've turned it into the machine, right? That's the whole goal at a place. We call them, like I said yesterday, the golden egg programs. You want to turn it into a machine that you feed great high school players and it spits out NFL players. When it comes down to, we need to separate this year's Georgia defense versus last year's Georgia defense. They dominated TCU in the national championship game, but this defense wasn't as good as that Georgia defense that had Nakobe Dean and Jordan Davis and all those guys. But they're young. All right, you're going to lose Nolan Smith. You're going to lose Jalen Carter. But best believe Georgia's got guys on deck. They have a guy named Bear Alexander in the middle. Did you see that guy? Come on, man. Does that dude even have to pay for anything? You just walk in there and grab it like Debo, or that one guy used to just walk in to places and start talking trash to people? I don't think it's going to be rare at places like Georgia. I think it's so hard to do it in any era of college football to be that dominant on defense that we're not going to see a lot of it. But no, I think Georgia and some of these teams that we've seen be able to elevate themselves to dominance on not only on one side of the ball, but on both sides of the ball. I don't think you're going to see a slowdown in Georgia's culture. Do not forget, it's about having good players. We all understand that. But what Georgia has from a cultural standpoint right now, from the standard of winning, is at its apex. Mm-hmm. It is at the top, and typically that takes a while to slow down unless you're Gene Chizik in Auburn.
You don't see a lot of Georgia guys in the portal.
No, you really don't.
I've seen maybe three. And I mean, right now you look at A&M signing phenomenal players. They have 27 kids in the portal.
Yeah, it's like a
Bama.
Texas A&M did?
Yeah, I think Bama has 15 or 16, which if you're Bama, you're going to reload. Obviously, I don't know about Texas A&M. You haven't stacked enough classes. But Georgia, who probably has the best players right now, 3 kids in the portal, that tells you a lot about Kirby Smart.
Well, it's an interesting question from the Booster Club there. I'll be particularly interested to see if there's any shift in power between offenses and defenses over this NIL period, because a lot of the players who get these bigger NIL deals are quarterbacks. You can already see it in play, particularly on the West Coast, like you were talking about. Bo Nix deciding to come back, undoubtedly because he's going to make as much or maybe a little more in NIL in college than he would being a late-round draft pick, right? Michael Penix Jr. deciding to come back. Some of these quarterbacks who could try their hand at the NFL are returning. How's that going to impact when you also have good defensive players? You know, good defensive players on some defensive-minded teams such as Georgia or Michigan, programs like that also returning. Be interested to see if there's any shift in balance.
Yeah, I mean, you're always going to see the offensive guys get more, just like, in the NFL, that's typically the way it works, even though defensive ends are getting really paid right now. I mean, you look at guys like Derwin James at safety and places like that. When it comes down to it, what I'm the part about NIL that excites me is obviously that. I think that's going to be a positive side effect, not only for college football, but I'm excited to see it for college basketball, because the argument for college basketball in the tournament is that, well, the play isn't as good because all these young kids are going to be one and dones and they're going to be leaving. And you're still going to have one and dones. You still have guys that go to college to play 1 year, but how many of those older guards are going to come back for that extra year? We already seen it, right? Oscar Tshiebwe comes back to Kentucky. I know it's not working out, fantastic for him right now. Zach Edey comes back to Purdue. I think it's good for the sport. It's one positive side effect. There are negative side effects, but we have to make sure we point out the positive side effects of NIL and some of this stuff that we've seen. I think you can look at parity in college football this year, not only from teams at the top, having a team like TCU make the Natty, but you saw a lot of lower class teams, like Blaine says, end up moving up to the middle class. You went from poverty to stability in 1 year because of, and it's not just a trickle up, right? It's not just Georgia going to get one of the best players from a certain other team. You have the lower level teams that are like, man, backup quarterback like that from Rutgers, yeah, come on in, man. Give us a legitimate guy at quarterback that can do it, or at least somewhat legitimate. So there's some positives and there's some negatives to it. But guys, look, it's the last college football game of the year. I love college football. but we still have football. Last night I was sad for a second. Then I remembered, guys, we got the wild card this week.
Oh, yeah.
The NFL playoffs is just starting. Then we'll have the NFL playoffs. Then we'll have March Madness. Then it'll be the summer, okay, which we all love the summer. And then guess what? It's the fall again.
It's football again, yeah.
It's football again. It always goes faster than what you think. But let's go ahead and get to some of these matchups, David. I'm super jacked and tan about this.
Well, let's start with the NFC. First off, we have Seattle at San Francisco.
Mm-hmm.
Brock Purdy.
Yeah, you talk about house money, and we talked about this with some of the teams in college football. If you're the Seahawks, this year, there's been so many superlatives and there's been so many positives in a huge year of the unknown there with Pete Carroll, right? Russell Wilson goes to the Broncos. It's a new era. Well, we need to get a stopgap guy to wait till we get our next quarterback. We're going to go in the draft and get a young guy. And then all of a sudden, Geno Smith explodes onto the scene. One of the best stories, I think, in the NFL. And I know we get caught up in some of the young guys, and we should. The Brock Purdys, the guys, the Malik Willises, the guys that get drafted as young quarterbacks coming into the league. But sometimes we forget about some of these journeymen that are able to figure it out. And Geno Smith is a great example of that. You've seen this Seahawks team be able to coalesce around the 12th man up there in Seattle to be able to make the playoffs. Now, are they going to beat the 49ers? Probably not, especially with the way the Niners are playing defensively. It's going to be hard, in my opinion, even though I love Kenneth Walker as a young back. DK Metcalf, we know, is a transformer on the outside. But that San Francisco 49er defense with soon-to-be, I think, head coach DeMeco Ryans as the defensive coordinator, you know they're going to come play well. Fred Warner's going to play well. Bosa's going to play well. I mean, Tariq Armstead is just an absolute alien in the middle of that defense. And then offensively, McCaffrey, Jawan Jennings, Deebo Samuel's now healthy. I can go down the list. I mean, Juszczyk, George Kittle. I mean, they've got more weapons than Ukraine right now. I'm surprised Zelensky ain't in San Francisco trying to talk to Shanahan about giving him some and some money. But when I look at this matchup, I just feel like the Niners are so much better than the Seahawks up front. Not that Seattle may not make it interesting early, just over a 4-quarter game in a game of this magnitude. I don't think Shanahan's going to put a ton on Brock Purdy in this game. I don't think he needs to. I like the Niners, but just the Seahawks being here, I know some of them don't want to hear that, but think about where you're at now from a draft standpoint. You went from saying, all right, well, it's looking like we're going to have to go maybe make some moves if we have an okay year to get the draft pick we want up at the top. Now you don't have to go get a quarterback. And it's not like you got to pay Geno Smith $850 million.
Actually, you know what's crazy? Hold on. Yeah, so I believe this is right. I think Seattle has the 5th pick from Denver.
I know, but like if you're saying if you're Seattle and you're like
move back,
you can move back now if you want. But what if you wanted C.J. Stroud or Bryce Young and you weren't super thrilled about any of the other guys? Well, the odds of them making it to the 5th pick, I don't think are very good when you look at the Texans are taking one of them.
Mm-hmm. And then you have the Colts in front of you as well.
You have the Colts in front of you. Like those 2 quarterbacks going off the board most likely. Which some people will freak out over Will Levis. You're watching Mel Kiper. I mean, just absolutely drool all over this guy, which, again, I just don't trust it. It's got Mitch Trubisky written all over it. But if you're the Seahawks now, I don't have to worry about the quarterback position. I can go get Will Levis.
So you feel that way?
I do. How would it not?
That way?
I mean, for the time being.
What do you mean? Yeah.
So, okay. I mean, if anything, I'd want to see where the rest of their picks are in the draft. I feel like you just need to get like a head-in hooker sitting behind Geno Smith to be great. Yeah, I think Geno broke the record for passing yards.
That's what I'm saying. The dude's balling.
Insane. Like if we had sat here honestly and given odds of what Geno Smith would have done, this would be the last thing I ever told you, especially what you've seen in his past career. So if I use Seattle, obviously you're not going to get the elite top-tier quarterback. I wouldn't take a chance on Will Levis, in my opinion. I'd look later in draft to try to steal a guy, to have a guy sit behind Geno for a couple years. So I don't know Geno's age, but I know he's got a good.
This is his 10th year.
10 years.
10
so he's got some years left he can still play. And what is better to have a guy to sit behind Geno right now who's playing the best of his career for a couple years and then go? Because to me, if I have the 5th pick, man, I'm getting a tackle, I'm getting an end, I'm securing something up front for that offense and defense. I'm really not worried about receiver right now. You have a young DK Metcalf. Tyler Lockett's still got some good years in him. You just got Noah Fant, the tight end from the Broncos, who's an extremely good player. So right now, if I'm the Seahawks, I feel great about the quarterback position. Geno Smith's playing the best ball he's played in his career. I'm securing something up front, whether that's tackle, whether that's end. You have the 5th pick. I'm not trading back. Give me a really good. There's nothing better, and I know it's not the sexy play, guys. It's not the receiver who runs a 4-3 or the quarterback can throw it 80 yards, but I promise you, as a front office guy, there's nothing sexier than seeing a 6'8", 350-pound guy playing tackle that you get at the 5th pick.
Yeah.
There's nothing sexier.
I'm with you.
I can't say enough about what Pete Carroll's done.
I'm telling you,
it's
man.
truly incredible.
Again, and it's so interesting to watch him have the success he had in college. You can say whatever you want about the cheating stuff. Everybody cheated, including your team. But he had a ton of success in college, and now he's having it in the NFL. That shows you the type person that he's, how he treats people, how he handles egos. Because let's make no mistake about it. What is pro sports? It's massaging egos most of the time. That's really what. Look at the NBA. How much head coaching does the head coach do in the NBA? Not telling LeBron what to do. I'm telling you, it's massaging those egos.
Even still, Geno Smith, 10 years in the league, we had seen a large enough sample size. If you brought in someone like Sean McVay, and then you see these kind of numbers, you could square it a little bit easier, right? Like, okay, well, you brought in someone who is, knows the offensive side of the ball inside and out, dialed up a wonderful season for Geno Smith, and possibly it's an anomaly. That's not really Pete Carroll. If anything, he's more of a defensive coach or a CEO type mindset to be able to throw for 4,200 yards, 70% completion rate, nearly a 3-to-1 touchdown to interception ratio. It really is incredible. I agree with you. I don't know if it'll be enough to get the job done on the road with San Francisco because this team is so elite, but we're talking about a Seattle team that was supposed to be bottom of the barrel, right? Supposed to have that 5th pick from Denver plus another one of their own, right? Let's see what happens.
House money.
The NFL wild card.
True house.
Next one in the NFC, this will be Giants at Minnesota. Now, raise your hand if you trust Minnesota right about now.
I don't. This game just scares me to death betting on. This one's on Sunday. It's going to be on 3:30 on Fox. I am going to be tempted to take the Giants' money line in this game. The way Daniel Jones is playing, I know they sat everybody the last week, but, I thought Webb did a pretty good job. When it comes down to Minnesota, are you guys going to keep getting down 14, 17 points and have to come back? Because you can't make it through the playoffs that way. But you do have Justin Jefferson, who can freak out at any point in time, and Dalvin Cook, who can hit the home run even in the NFL. But that Minnesota defense, all right, this is a defense that hobbled down the stretch. They don't force a lot of turnovers. All right, they haven't shown you a ton of physicality from a rushing the passer or stopping the run standpoint. I feel like the whole menu is open for Brian Daboll in this game. But the biggest key, in my opinion, for the Giants' success on offense isn't just Daniel Jones' decision-making in the pass. It's his running ability. Like, look at how many designed quarterback runs they are running.
It's incredible.
Especially in the red zone. And when you have a guy that you didn't pick up his 5th-year option, and you don't want anybody to get hurt, I'm not saying that, and they re-sign him and say, hey, let's go ride this thing out into the sunset. But they are getting every ounce out of Daniel Jones that they can possibly get. And when I look at this matchup with the Vikings, and Kirk Cousins and the way he struggled, we know kind of in the postseason and in big games or any game not played at 12 o'clock. You always have that thing in the back of your head because it's almost feast or famine with Kurt. It's really, really good or it's really, really bad. And that's no way to survive in the NFL. Right now, I'm not going to put a bet in yet, but right now, I like the Giants. I don't know what the spread is. I need to
3.
I have it right here.
It's 3 right now.
Plus 135 money line.
Look, that's not crazy odds to go. What are the Seahawks, like plus 325?
10. Oh, you talking about money line?
Yeah.
Plus 410.
Plus 410. I mean, again, that shows you a little bit of difference in theory right there.
Well, I mean, the key for me in this game, which Kirk Cousins shows up? Who's it going to be? Is it going to be 1 o'clock Kirk Cousins? We're going to get the job done. We're going to go Home Depot, have a good weekend? Or is it going to be, I'm just forget that I play football, Kirk Cousins? Well, let's think about the Giants. One, the Giants are extremely good at stopping and running the football.
Yes.
Minnesota on defense could not stop a pass to save their life. They're the worst passing defense.
Couldn't stop the runs with Pepto-Bismol.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, you got to think how talented this offense is. The offensive line is somewhat decent. You have the best receiver in the NFL and the top 4 back in Dalvin Cook. You pick up Hawkinson.
Yep.
If you're Minnesota, you kind of want this game to be a shootout, right? If anything, I want to get ahead of the Giants. All right. Giants, in my opinion, aren't built to come back on people, right? They want to run the ball. They don't want Daniel Jones to make certain mistakes. So I like Minnesota in this game. I think they're the better football team. I think Kirk Cousins does show up. I feel like Justin Jefferson has a great game, but I don't want to take anything away from what the Giants have done this year. Brian Daboll did a hell of a coaching job this year. If you're a Giants fan, you better pick up that fifth-year option on Daniel Jones.
Yeah.
One of the guys when we talked about this at the beginning of the year that says you give Daniel Jones a chance. I mean, the kid came a long way, and it's not like he was playing terrible. Last year it was just turnovers, and it was stupid turnovers, blatantly dumb turnovers, and he's taking that away this year. You've seen Saquon Barkley turn into what? Everyone thought what Saquon Barkley was supposed to
stay
be.
healthy.
Right? Brian Daboll says we have an elite player at running back. Elite player. Give him the football. And that's only helped too. Daniel Jones.
Remember, we sat down with Coach David Cutcliffe at SEC Media Days, who coached Daniel Jones at Duke. And he said, don't give up on Daniel Jones just yet.
No, he did say that. And Coach Cut's one of the best to ever do it. But, man, are you feeling less like your old self these days? It's okay. Let's be honest. Blaine, David. You don't have the energy you used to or the body? Do something about it. With Nugenix Total T Testosterone Booster.
Hey.
All right? Because as we age, our body loses free testosterone. It's just part of it. It's sad, but it's part of it. All right? Our energy drops, our libido falls, and we start to lose muscle. You got to stay jacked and tan. All right? Especially for the ladies. But Nugenix Total T Testosterone Booster helps you turn back the clock and re-energize your workouts. Go in there and just freak out, Blaine. Nugenix Total T contains key man-boosting ingredients like testofen, validated in 5 clinical studies and backed by years of research by scientists, doctors, and mathematicians. Unlike other products that use generic ingredients, which are far less clinical grade, Nugenix Total T gives you the same clinical potency levels used in the trials. Re-energize your life with Nugenix Total T and text CRANE, C-R-A-I-N, not C-R-A-N-E. I'm not a bird. Text CRANE to 231-231 for a complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T. That means it's free. Text now, and you'll also get a complimentary bottle of Nugenix Thermo, their most powerful fat incinerator ever, absolutely free. You got to text C-R-A-I-N to 231-231. That's C-R-A-I-N to 231-231, and you can hit homers like Frank Thomas and throw Hail Marys like Doug Flutie, especially when they're talking after award shows.
I'm super jacked and pale about it.
You're jacked and pale. You're basically Vlad the Impaler, but you're also jacked. Real quick, Booster Club, and then we'll get to the rest of these games, David.
All right, let's go to Seth Harrell. What's up, Seth? $5 donation.
Seth.
Appreciate it, man. Early 23 top 5. So I'm going UGA, Bama, Ohio State, Michigan, USC. Love the show, guys. Keep up the great work. I don't mind that.
Oh, that sounds in the right vein to me. I would
don't
say
know, Ohio State. I don't know.
I would say Georgia 1.
I put LSU up there.
I would say Bama 2, just because it's just how it is. Actually, you know what? I would say Georgia 1,
I'd go Michigan
2 with Blake Corum coming back. I would say Bama 3. I would say LSU 4. And at the 5th spot, I'm going to go Utah.
So what about if that's interesting with Cam Rising coming back. What if Jim Harbaugh doesn't return for Michigan? Do you think that roster is just so loaded right now
I just
that
have
someone
to see
can
who
come
they
in
replace them with. I've got to see.
And as important as it is for Blake Corum to return to give you that two-headed monster again with Donovan Edwards, who will be a year older and a junior, I think what's even more important is an extra year now for J.J. McCarthy.
Massive.
He's going to be a junior. He can take that next step from some of the mistakes. We saw the ceiling, right? We saw why he was named the starting quarterback. If he can clean up some of the other things and really use his legs in the run game like we saw at critical times, that'll be what I'm most interested to see, even apart from whoever the head coach is.
Is Michigan going to be preseason number 1?
I saw them preseason number 1 in a poll that I was looking at, but like I said, I've said this for the last 2 years now. After what you saw last night, you just have to put Georgia.
You have to.
I don't care if they don't return anybody on the team. They're the champions until the beginning of next season.
Did you see they had players eating on the sideline with like 2 minutes to
They were eating on the sideline?
Yes.
I was having flashbacks to high school football.
Like I was wondering to see if I
quarter.
saw some Capri Suns and orange slices out there. What else we got?
I wouldn't mind some Capri Suns and orange
I
slices.
love a good
Capri Suns forever. I don't care how old you are. Capri Suns will be forever.
And Kool-Aid Jammers.
Fire.
Yeah.
I'll drink those. I'm 130.
Is that the one with the top on it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, the one we didn't know what it was called,
And
but
this-
every time I showed a picture, you're like, yeah, there it is.
Yep.
Don't know it by name, only by sight.
Let's go to Dawson Malachi with a $5 donation.
Thank you,
Appreciate
brother.
it, not Dawson's Creek. You ever watch Dawson's Creek?
A little bit of it, but James Vanderbeek will always be the quarterback from Varsity Blues.
Yeah.
I don't want your life, David.
All right, he says Georgia did have Oklahoma on the schedule, but the SEC told them to replace it with Ball State.
Because
This is why they don't really have any big out-of-conference matches.
Yeah, because Texas and Oklahoma are coming.
That was the same thing that happened with Michigan and UCLA, which they filled in with like Hawaii or
Well, we've had this conversation. Do you think we're going to see the death of big I know LSU plays Florida State next year, but once Texas and Oklahoma come to the SEC and they make it a 9-game in-conference schedule, I'm not playing Oregon game.
I understand that. I hope the answer is no, and I hope it's no for this reason. With playoff expansion, you can still lose a game or two. So if you had a 12-team playoff and you're Oregon and you got blown out by Georgia in week 1 in Atlanta, that didn't now.
I mean, they still had a shot.
Even with a
4
4-team playoff, they had a shot, right? They cost themselves down the stretch in some of those big Pac-12 games. But I just think you're going to be able to get the upside of scheduling a Notre Dame for the prestige. You're going and playing Texas in Austin or something really cool like that without the downside of, man, one loss or even if that's our second loss has now knocked us out of playoff contention.
Which just makes me think of the BCS. I go straight back to the BCS. One loss, you're out.
Yeah.
You're on the BCS days. All right, let's move on. Go ahead, Blaine.
Yeah, I was going to Revco 250 with the 10.
There he is. Hey, we're going to play your Creed song that you did on Crane & Co.
Yes.
We got to play that soon.
Doing the Lord's work.
All right, it says, mad props to y'all for the live stream last night. By far the most fun I've ever had watching a football game. Having the sound muted and listening to you guys call the game, it was just incredible.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, man. First of all, I want to give a shout out to our team last night.
Yeah,
stayed up here late with us. Again, everybody from audio to the people in the control room. You got to meet some of them last night. We were able to come out and hang out. We played a little beer pong. That was an absolutely awesome time. We're doing one for the Super Bowl, so you got to get ready.
For sure.
That needs to start being a thing that we do more of. But that was a heck of a time. We had the views were outstanding. We really appreciate you guys and keep sharing the show as we go into this new year and continue to try and grow. So it really meant a lot.
Yeah, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button, guys. We've got 500 people in here, only 91 likes.
Yeah, and make sure hit that like button real quick. Hit that like button real quick.
All right, let's go to Matthew Roberts. What's up, Matt? He says, have you ever heard all the story out of the men's national soccer team? Angry parents blackmailing. You brought this up the other day.
Yep.
Blackmailing the coach because their son was not playing. Crazy that happened at that level. It's soccer.
This shows you why we're not good at it. Okay, because we're still treating it like it's 12-year-old travel ball.
Yeah.
That's why. You want to know when you're serious about something? When they're serious about it. If you're a parent, let me put it to you this way. Okay, outside of little kids playing, once you get to middle school, if you're a parent, and I coach high school, I coach college at Division I level. That was the best part about college as opposed to high school. I didn't have to deal with parents. You got a problem? Well, how about this? How about you drive your ass up to the facility, okay? I'm not talking to you about playing time if we're in college or in high school, to be honest with you. I'm not talking about playing time. You drive up to the facility, we'll take away a scholarship, and we'll have all the stuff out in the front, and you can come pick it up. I've told multiple parents that. Ask them, what do you do for a living? Oh, well, you sell health insurance. Well, I'm not going to go and try and sell you health insurance as a football coach. So don't tell me who needs to be playing on the football field because you watch football on TV. So I couldn't deal with it. I couldn't do it. It is just a joke, and it's one of the reasons that we're not good at it. And I know we don't really care deep down in it, even though a lot of kids are playing soccer now more and more in the United States. We don't treat it serious at the highest level. Okay, you got parents trying to blackmail people and complain about playing time.
Yeah.
In Team USA.
And you're going to go beat Messi?
I mean, hell, even Gordon Bombay from the Mighty Ducks was like, don't talk to me about playing time.
He did say that.
He also said quack, quack, quack.
Quack.
All right?
He did say that.
Charlie's mom was a smoke parade, by the way. All right, let's go ahead and go to the other NFL games here, Dave.
All right, one more in the NFC. So we have Dallas at Tampa Bay. Remember, this was a season opener. Yeah. Bucs went to Dallas, won 19-3. That was when Dak Prescott was still healthy. Now the Cowboys are going to go to Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay gets a first-round playoff game at home.
And it's so hard for me to bet against Tom Brady, especially when he's playing Dak Prescott, who, again, the mistakes aren't just, I turned the ball over. It's I threw a pick six. Or I fumbled it up in the air and they got it and ran it back for a touchdown. This game, to me, is the hardest game to bet on the slate when I look at it. Because I don't know. The Cowboys kind of ended the year a little bit on a dud against the Commanders. The Bucs, that they won the division, but what does that mean in the NFC South this year? Really not a lot. It means you were okay. But just something about playoff Tom, Mike Evans kind of getting it going a little bit late, Fournette is a back that can do things inside the 10-yard line. He can catch the ball out of the backfield. But it's that Buccaneers defense versus the Cowboys defense that I'm fascinated to watch in this matchup. Can the Buccaneers offensive line hold up with Micah Parsons and some of the guys that the Cowboys are going to bring at you? And then how much is Tom Brady going to influence Diggs and try and get him out of position and hit them for big plays? I don't know what to think of this game right now. Gun to my head, I'm taking the Bucs.
Really?
Gun to my head, I'm taking the Bucs. I don't trust Dak Prescott. I'm just telling you guys. I don't trust this man in the playoffs. I don't trust this man when it's crunch time, or I don't trust this man to not make devastating mistakes early and then try and have to claw their way back and end up losing it close at the end. This game is on Monday at 7:15 on ESPN, and right now I'm leaning Buccaneers at home.
So, Blaine, I think clearly Dallas is a better football team all around.
Yeah.
And Tampa Bay may be the worst football team in totality that made the playoffs. With that being said, is there any other team that you would least want to face than Tampa Bay right now? If you're Dallas, who's already proven not to be able to get over the hump.
You give me Tom Brady week 1.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
You give me Tom Brady. I have to go to Tampa Bay week 1. We lost to them. I mean, week 1 of the playoffs, and we lost to them week 1 of the regular season. I don't know what to think of this game because obviously the Cowboys are the better team, and I had a couple players on the Bucs in fantasy, so I've watched them mostly every single one of their games. They're not a good football team, guys. On offense, they're really not good. It gets to a point in that Cardinals game, it was the worst performance I've seen from a Tom Brady offense in a long time. I think this is the first time Tom Brady has ever had a losing season.
Yeah,
but I still think the Cowboys.
Well, is it a losing season? Didn't they go?
They're
8-9.
They're 8-9.
And I still think the Cowboys are a better team. But I kind of agree with Jake. Dak Prescott has been one of those guys in the biggest moments, just drops the bag. He just makes the wrong play. He has to get over this hump. It all depends on one. What are the Bucs going to do with CeeDee Lamb? That should be your first thing you have to stop. It's not Tony Pollard. It's not Ezekiel Elliott. Zeke's averaging 2.1 carries right now. Your defense will be fine in the box. You have really good D-line, especially interior. Secondary-wise, how good can you go against the Cowboys? Diggs, a good player. Other than that, they're banged up and really not that good. Chris Godwin, great player. Mike Evans, great player. You have the weapons. Gage, great player. But it's funny, which teams are going to show up on both sides? I've seen great Bucs. I've seen terrible Bucs.
Yep.
Right? I've seen great Cowboys. I've seen terrible Cowboys. And then what it comes down to me is what? The quarterbacks. The quarterbacks really dictate how the teams are going to go. And you think I'm going to sit here and not put my eggs in the basket of Tom Brady? I don't give a shit if he's 67.
Yeah.
All right, I'd still do it. Dak Prescott right now has shown me, everybody in the world, that when it comes down to it, right, when he's in the corner, there's 5 seconds left, and I'm dribbling the ball down the court, and we're down by 2, and he's wide open for a corner 3, I'm looking straight at him, and I'm driving to the hole.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that. This is the hardest game on the slate to bet.
It is, and I haven't.
What's the spread? Do we have the spread on that?
It is.
I'm going to guess it's what, Cowboys, what? Is it a pick-up?
2.5.
2.5?
Yeah, I got 2.5, 3.
Plus 120 Bucs at home.
That is, I'm going to tell you what, boys.
I agree with you guys. And throughout Dak Prescott's career, I would have agreed with you guys 100%. I did in that Eagles game, and I know it wasn't a playoff game. In that Eagles game, he came out and he threw one of the worst pick sixes I've seen him throw. And then he went like 19 for 19.
He basically did the same thing in a little bit of a different form against the Commanders. He stared down. I mean, you're looking at the DB at the receiver. He stares him down the whole time. Just here we go, throw a little out. It was the easiest pick six of all time.
But then he went 19 for 19, and they beat the Eagles. He's proven that he can bounce back like that. My question is, especially in this opening round, because if it comes down to a final possession, and whoever has the ball last is going to win, who's not taking Tom Brady in that situation?
Yeah.
I don't care how good the rest of the roster is. The thing is, like Blaine said, if a really good Cowboys performance shows up, even against a good Bucs performance, because we haven't seen them really light it on fire, can the Cowboys keep the game from being close enough to where Tom Brady leads that 2.5 minute drive?
It's a good thought. And before we move on, another thing about the Bucs offense that I've noticed, and in every offense, you want to attack the deep third, right? But they've been so hit or miss with the vertical ball. Like I watch them one week and Mike Evans is just streaking down the field scoring touchdowns. Then the next week, they can't hit anything over 15 yards and it turns into a underneath. Tom Brady has made his money, like Peyton Manning has made his money, checking you down to death. You'll never go broke making a profit. We talk about that all the time, right? Instead of forcing it down the field all the time or just throwing it up, he's fine with throwing the check down and getting into 2nd and 6. But it's harder to throw the check down and to have that space if you're not affecting the safeties and the corners vertical and the linebackers in the window off the basic or the dig, whatever you're running in between that safety level and that linebacker level. And that's where the Buccaneers have struggled. And it affects the run game. If it's like LSU early in the year, they were not throwing the ball deep, right? And everything looked so hard. On the underneath game, it was like 2 guys are getting there and knocking them out. The run game, it feels like there's 30 guys in the box. Well, all of a sudden, you start utilizing that deep third, people get a little nervy to walk up there in the box if I'm a safety. Or my eyes maybe not just be dead red in that 15-yard window and underneath it I'm jumping everything. I'm worried about, getting my pants pulled down in front of everybody.
I think there's just 7 weeks span where Mike Evans didn't have a touchdown.
That's crazy.
They're probably the worst team. They don't have a guy other than Mike. And Mike...
Godwin.
Godwin's not taking the top off your defense. Chris isn't. Chris is an intermediate guy, option routes. Not a deep ball. If Chris Godwin is your biggest threat to go deep, we're in a lot of trouble. I would take Gage before I take Godwin down the field.
Which, by the way, how is he? He landed.
I think he's going to play.
Okay.
But the one thing that worried about me about the Cowboys team is Vander Esch going to be out there. Because that kid right now was playing his ass off in the middle of that defense for the Cowboys. And when he kind of disappeared, you saw that defense line kind of get pushed a little bit and those linebackers not filled. And if that happens, right, then that secondary starts getting picked on. If I'm Tom Brady, I am double moving Diggs as much as I can.
All day. You got to protect me long enough, though, to get that double move off. Like, you got to protect me. And Tom Brady's not getting out of that pocket against the Cowboys.
AFC, Chargers, your preseason pick at the Jaguars, snuck in last game of the regular season against the Titans.
Coach Staley, why are we playing these guys the last week of the game? This is the overthinking that we see sometimes in college football, but also in the NFL. Justin Herbert is not going to forget, but now Mike Williams goes out there and gets banged up. Austin Eckler goes out. You've been hurt the whole year. You're finally healthy. And then you go play everybody in a meaningless game against the Denver Broncos last week of the season. And now you're a little bit beat up, limping into this one. Going to face a Jags team that has, sold that dog van for that scooter that gets 80 miles to the gallon and totally redeemed themselves after struggling early in the year. Trevor Lawrence struggled in that game, guys. Let's make no mistake about it. Trevor Lawrence did not play well, which I think Trevor's the type to be able to come back. But this is the game, if I'm the Chargers, where, look, Austin Eckler, you have been a monster in the regular season. This is where I got to have you in the run game and catching passes. Keenan Allen's going to get his. You feel like Mike Williams, if he's healthy, is going to get his. Justin Herbert, we know, has an absolute laser. But this is the game where you look at Austin Eckler and you're like, listen, we've got a capable backup in Kelly, right, that we know is a good player. We don't want to overuse you, but you have got to be on your game because Austin is so good after the catch. He's so good at squeezing and slipping through those holes that look like they're closing up and then shaking off that tackler, getting hit like a pinball and staying up and bouncing it outside. You need Austin Eckler to freak out a little bit in this game because I think Jacksonville's going to play well. I think Jacksonville's going to play well at home, but part of me thinks this is another low-scoring, somewhat drag-it-out type of game, even though the Chargers have shown the ability to be explosive, and that kind of favors Jacksonville, but I do like the Chargers. What's the spread on this game?
-1.
Who?
Chargers.
Really?
Yeah, both teams are minus to win. The over-under 47.5.
47.5. I feel like that's a lot.
Yeah, well, the point's going to be the Chargers defense. Even with Bosa and Khalil Mack, the D-line's great, but the linebackers are not good.
I like Quantrill.
Obviously, getting Derwin James back is going to be huge for the secondary, but the secondary does have some holes in it. But I do think the difference for the Chargers would be Justin Herbert. Justin Herbert right now, he's playing great ball, especially in the playoffs. He needs to start picking it up a little bit, and I think he does that this year.
But never been in the playoffs. This is his first year in the playoffs.
Yeah, first year. They not make it last year?
No, he's never made the playoffs. This is Justin Herbert's first year in the playoffs.
Okay, well then good. It's about time he got in the playoffs anyway. So I feel like he makes some noise. I do think Jacksonville's a cool story. I think they're a great team. But I think what you saw against the Titans, they'll play a little bit better. But I do think the cachet right now, the Chargers is a little bit better. Having Bosa back healthy, Khalil Mack back healthy, they're going to make some plays late. I don't think the offense for the Jaguars will be good enough. I think they play better, obviously, than they played against the Titans. But give me the Chargers. I feel like the Chargers is kind of a sneaky team this year. Austin Eckler, healthy. He'll be fine going into Mike Williams. Questionable, but I do think Mike will play. I mean, other than that, I mean, Keenan Allen's good. They'll have all weapons walking into this game. If you're the Chargers, that's exactly what you needed. And I believe they played the first half that last week game.
Yeah. How many times can that Chargers D turn Trevor Lawrence over? Strip sack, maybe picks.
Well, the difference in Trevor's been he's not turning the ball over, especially in crucial situations. That's why they've been able to win some of these close games because you're not making the detrimental mistake.
Yeah. Miami sneaks into the playoffs. They go to Buffalo, divisional matchup in the wild card round.
I'm going to keep this one short and sweet. Buffalo by a lot. Buffalo by a lot. Miami, snuck in there late, winning 11-6 over the Jets the last game of the year. The Bills right now, with everything that's gone on, the quarterback situation there in Miami, give me Buffalo by a ton.
Blaine?
Is Tua playing?
Doubt it.
For the Dolphins?
Don't know.
I mean, I saw him in the tunnel. We're getting high fives and.
Well, there's going to be a lot of him in the tunnel.
Let me see. Okay, so he's going to be out for this game? Yeah, no chance.
Yeah, I'm not going to sit here to overanalyze this.
You're not going to win with Skylar Thompson. I'm sorry. And Buffalo deserves it, especially after the last game they played against the Dolphins.
Baltimore at Cincinnati. These two teams just played to end the regular season. The Bengals are on an 8-game win streak.
Yeah, here's the problem if you're the Ravens. Lamar's probably going to play, correct? I'm guessing Lamar's going to play.
He almost played in the season finale.
He almost played in the season finale. And look, Lamar Jackson's not going to forget how to play quarterback, but he hasn't played in a while. Okay? I mean, it's may take a couple drives for him to get back, and by the time that happens, they already may be down 14 points. Because this Bengals team, I'm telling you guys right now, if there's a team that I trust, and I'm really starting to trust when the season gets late and it becomes ring chasing time, it's the Bengals. They saved their best ball for the end of the year. They've done it 2 years in a row now with this core, with this group. I believe in Joe Burrow. I believe in Jamar Chase. I believe in Joe Mixon. I believe in T. Higgins. I believe in Tyler Boyd. I believe in Hayden Hurst. I mean, you want to talk about weapons? Them and the Niners may have the most weapons on offense out of anybody in the NFL. If you really look at it from a spread even standpoint, I like the Bengals in this game. I think the defense is going to get enough stops in the red zone. They're going to force feed Mark Andrews. They're going to try and find a way to get their speedsters involved on the outside with Duvernay and some of the cats they have running around there in the backfield. J.K. Dobbins, since he's come back, has been really good, but it's the passing game. What on the outside scares me if I'm the Bengals? Not a whole lot. You try and keep Lamar in the pocket. Is he a little bit rusty early? I like the Bengals big in this one.
Blaine?
I would agree, too. I mean, at this point, I don't know how you don't pick the Bengals, especially after last year. Hell, they made a Super Bowl without an offensive line.
Yeah.
I mean, right now, you want to talk about the most dangerous team in the NFL? It's the Cincinnati Bengals.
Yep.
I mean, who has more weapons than Cincinnati Bengals? Offensive line, not playing great, playing good enough.
Better than last year.
Yeah. I mean, one of those defense, they bend, but what? I mean, they don't break pretty good in the red zone. And do you want me to bet against Joey B?
No.
The true one, the king, the chosen one, Jon Snow, placing an army against himself, and Lamar coming back? First of all, Lamar's a hell of a football player.
Unbelievable.
Great quarterback. But you think the Ravens offense, I don't care if you run it 1,000 times during the game. You're going to be playing catch-up against the Bengals in this game. And good luck catching up, because I promise you, these guys, they're not going to stop. They're not going to stop. There's not a defense you can scheme up. If it's me, if I'm the Ravens, I have to decide. Either I have to come get Joe, I have to come get you the entire game. Hey, Kyrie, I'm not sitting back.
I'm coming to get him.
Coverage and watching you pick me apart with all the. I am coming to get you from the. I don't care if you know it. All right, we're gonna tackle in space and we're gonna come get your ass. That's the only chance you got.
Yeah. Well, look, if we're gonna sit here and play man and we're gonna play a game of I find you. Look, if Jamar Chase, you're gonna make the one-handed crazy catch and break a tackle, score a touchdown. Well, that's gonna happen. But I'm with Blaine. I am not sitting back and letting Joe Burrow just pick whatever he wants off the menu and just spit it. Let's feed Joe Mixon a little bit. I'm telling you, man, I really like this Bengals team. I love the Bengals' future.
I wonder what the odds, when I went through the future bet right now, is to win the Super Bowl for the Cincinnati Bengals.
I don't know, but I'd like to take that.
I would too.
If you're trying to get after Joey B, send a couple Georgia guys after him, right? Roquan Smith, Justin Houston, send a couple.
You're on the right track.
That's the only way.
It cannot be overstated how good Joe Burrow is at playing quarterback. It really is unbelievable. And when you look at that really rocky start to the season, back-to-back losses with Steelers and Dallas, both by 3 points. Their third loss, hold on, let me pull up their third loss really quick here.
You want to be hot late.
Their third loss, they lost by 2 at the Ravens.
Yep.
Okay, that was on the road. And then at the Browns, lose 32-13, the weirdest loss that they've had. That's what catapulted now an 8-game win streak. Could have been 9 possibly if that Bills game got finished. Is there any worry at all, though, that you're playing the Ravens back-to-back? In the NFL, team twice in a row.
If the Ravens had more weapons, yes. But they just don't. You don't have enough cats on offense.
Yeah.
Lamar has no help.
Well,
other than Mark Andrews.
That's all 6 NFL games. Obviously, the Eagles and the Chiefs get the first-round bye, so they await the winners.
It's like a free win in the playoffs.
And you want to talk about a team that can beat the Chiefs? It's the Cincinnati Bengals.
Yeah.
There's not a team that you want to talk about. The Chiefs, it's not the Bills. The Chiefs aren't in their rooms shaking their space foods about the Bills or the Niners. They keep looking up out their window and it's just Joey B smoking a cigar. I'm telling you, like, they're the kryptonite. The Bengals are for the Chiefs.
All right, real quick to the Booster Club lane. I want to get to this rapid fire.
Let's go to JJ. What's up, JJ? Says Kirk Cousins will blow it for Minnesota. And
It's hard for me to.
We all know Sister Riggs says Kirk Cousins is dead to her. I get it.
Yeah.
He's mid. I know he's mid. But, I mean, who's more mid? Who they playing again?
First round, Giants?
Yeah.
Giants?
First round, he
Who's
blows
more
it?
mid, Daniel Jones or Kirk Cousins? The battle of the mid.
Yeah, I don't know. It depends on what time it is. Battle of Midway.
Dusty Bonner says Bengals versus Niners in the Super Bowl. Calling it now, wouldn't be surprised.
That would be
Niners
a hell
versus
of a
who?
matchup.
Bengals.
Bengals?
That would be a
Bengals.
hell of a matchup.
Bengals. Bengals or Bengals?
Bengals.
Bengals.
Mhm.
Let's go to Emmanuel C. It's hard to argue against Mahomes' pass yards. However, Burrow, to me, is the best pure and more technical quarterback. Burrow plays the position to a team. Mahomes is phenomenal. I just see him more off script.
Yeah, listen, I'm taking Patrick.
Look, flip a coin, give me
Yeah, this is a tough. like I think it's Patrick by a smidge, just because of the off script stuff. Not that Joey B doesn't go off script, but I mean he's not going to Daniel Day-Lewis this thing. I mean Patrick Mahomes is Daniel Day-Lewis. Like he just may just start. He's a method actor. I've abandoned my boy.
I drink your milkshake.
Yes, that movie's wild.
What? He's such a good actor, man. Let's go to
Gangs of
Red Bear and Aaron. Buffalo's playing with the spirit of God in them. Love to see it. The Bills are Super Bowl bound. The more I watch the Bills, the more their defense scares me.
It scares me.
The Bills?
Yeah, it's just, they're a little bit banged
They're not
up.
like overtly physical on defense.
Yeah, there's nothing. I look at their defense and be like, wow, they're really good at that position. You know?
Well, I'm not watching it and I'm like, oh, like every time they hit somebody.
Yeah,
like, come here.
Interior scares me. Ed Oliver's a good
I'm
player.
going to tickle you down.
Tre'Davious White's good. He's not the same guy, in my opinion, after the
Well, they don't have that. They don't have that. I mean, look who got hurt. Let's be honest. I mean, your stallion got hurt. Von Miller, the guy you're counting on to be that guy to beat the Chiefs, right? You got Von Miller to be. Well, he's gone now. He's gone. So you're basically you got the old band back together and seeing if people still love the greatest hits.
Well, you got the best possible opening round draw you could have with Miami at home. The problem is if you win that, and Cincinnati does figure out a way to beat the Ravens as they should, you're going to be entering a divisional matchup with the Bengals when the game just got canceled week before last, in which the Bengals were up. They're already mad about it.
Who would have that home game?
So that's the interesting question because Buffalo is the 2 seed. Bengals are the 3 seed, but they both won this previous week.
Well, I think they said the Bengals, if they won there didn't need to have to be a coin flip.
That was with the Ravens.
That was with the Ravens.
That was only with the Ravens. This still may be a neutral site divisional matchup, even though
we need to see that. If somebody has the answer in the Booster Club, let us know. All right, let's get to rapid fire real quick, Coney.
Rapid fire, here we go.
Yep, hit the button.
All right, let's talk about the Cardinals for a second. Not in the playoffs, but they do fire Kliff Kingsbury after 4th season. A lot of people saw it coming. What do you guys think?
Steve Keim walked away as well.
Yes.
Again, we live in an era of, our contracts really contracts anymore. You go all in with your quarterback and head coach, and you end up firing the head coach. Kliff and them just couldn't win. They couldn't put it together. I mean, D-Hop was out for the first 6 games. I can sit here and make excuses for Kliff, but it just, the mesh wasn't what they thought it would be. you kind of see the way him and Kyler interact with each other. They're going to pick Kyler every time. I'm going to go ahead and tell you. They're going to take the player over the coach. It wasn't a great marriage. The question now is, obviously, where do the Cardinals go? But where does Kliff Kingsbury go? Next OC at Bama, if Bill O'Brien leaves, who knows? He entered the Nick Saban Rehabilitation Institute for coaches and kids who want to learn to do other stuff good too. It's tough for the Cardinals. I think it was warranted, though. I agree with the decision to let Kliff go. Because, guys, when they hired Kliff Kingsbury, it wasn't like he was balling in college. This was a reach. This hire was a reach, and it didn't work out. So now the GM's gone. And obviously the head coach is gone. Where do they turn from here? You're going to maybe hear Harbaugh. You're going to hear Sean Payton, the typical ones. You may, give Dan Quinn an interview, D'Amico Ryans an interview. It's a tough time for the Cardinals right now.
I think it was the right move, but I do still think Kliff Kingsbury can return to the college level and have big-time success as a head coach. Or if potentially if he wants to go the OC route, I just think that he can be a successful head coach. As far as the injuries and having players banged up and stuff, I look at what Mike Tomlin has done in Pittsburgh, with some of the injuries they've had. Yeah. And I mean, this guy was having to deal with a quarterback carousel at the beginning of the year, decides to start a rookie in Kenny Pickett, somehow still manages to have a winning season. Talk about not having a losing season. Mike Tomlin hasn't had one. So, look, it can be done even under the most dire of circumstances.
I mean, look, I think the Dolphins are another great example of that. Yep. I mean, they went 9-8 with basically, everybody getting hurt. So, Kliff had a shot, just didn't work out. That's how it works in this league. But they just recycle coaches. So, who knows where he's going to end up.
Yep. All right, next one. Bill Belichick is going to return for the Patriots.
Man.
We're on to Cincinnati.
Who's the first team they play next year? He's like, we're on to them.
Aaron Rodgers understands if the Packers want to move on.
I'm not playing this
without
game.
him.
Not playing this game with Aaron.
We're going to do this all offseason.
I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. Aaron, just decide what you're going to decide. I'm not doing it. I will not partake.
He's going to do it.
I will not partake.
He'll play all
partaking right now.
At least not today. No, I'm not.
You're partaking.
No, I'm not.
Tennessee, San Francisco, Denver, stay in Green Bay. Look at him. He's not going to do it, Blaine. All right. On to the next ones. College football. Cam Rising returning for Utah. Is that why you had them at number 5?
Look, Utah is going to be a problem. I need to see their schedule for next year. I wonder if they play Florida at home. That would be interesting to see. It's not just about Cam Rising. I mean, they're returning a lot. And Utah is just overtly physical. And they showed USC. I'm telling you guys right now, I think USC is afraid of Utah. I think they're afraid of them. I think they're scared of them. I'm going to be honest. I don't think USC likes that physicality.
Why'd they get that type of laugh?
I don't think they're afraid
I think they're afraid of them. I think their defense afraid of them.
I think their defense is afraid of everybody.
No, but I think they're
terrible against.
Well, they see Cam Rising.
Yeah, they're terrible against everybody.
Cam Rising looks like he just got off the Black Pearl with Jack Sparrow out there.
So I don't think they're afraid. I just don't think they're good.
No, I think they're scared. I think they're scared of Utah. I think everybody in the Pac-12 low-key is a little scared of Utah. Because think about it. Think about it. If I told you somebody was coming here to try and kick your ass from Utah, you'd be a little worried. You know how many people I know from Utah?
I wouldn't be worried.
Like two. Anytime there's that much water and that much elevation and that many mountains, I'm telling you, I've seen the hills have eyes.
Okay.
But the Pac-12 guys, best year ever.
Schedule, yeah.
All right, you got Florida week 1.
When?
At home, right?
Yeah, it is at home. It's Saturday, September 2nd.
Okay.
Does that feel good to you? Or
feels great.
You want a time?
No.
Okay. Then you go to Baylor.
How's
Blake Shapen back? Because if he is, give me Utah.
It's shaping up like a loss.
All right, then you go play the Weber State Wildcats, guys.
That's sneaky. In-state, Weber State, FCS.
You go to Arizona. Not an easy win as it usually
Jetfish is doing a good job out there.
Okay.
I like the Delora kid.
Let me guess what you're going to say next. Colorado.
No.
You
go to Oregon State.
To Oregon State, Corvallis?
Jonathan Smith, DJU, the resurrection?
Dogfight.
I'm not talking about Resident Evil either.
I can't wait to watch DJU throw 3 picks in that game. All right, then.
Down.
You go to USC.
I think they beat them. What do you mean? Like, they don't lose to them. Utah doesn't lose to him. Caleb Williams can paint his fingernails. He can paint his face. He can get a tramp stamp. It doesn't matter. Utah. I just think Utah's more physical than there.
You know he's gonna get a tramp stamp that says F Utah.
Probably.
Yeah, it's super hot. All right, then you go. Then you got Arizona State at home.
Win.
Dub. California Golden Bears.
No.
All right, then you got the Colorado Buffaloes, the prime coming in.
There you go.
I mean, you got
At
Travis Hunter.
in Utah?
You got Optimus Prime.
I mean,
Yeah, it's at Utah.
I'm taking Utah probably big.
You got Oregon at home next week.
Woo!
Interesting.
Could be the game that decides it. Or,
Interesting.
obviously kicks one of them
So
out
this stretch, this 4-week stretch, you're going to have Colorado, you have Oregon at home, UCLA at home, and you go to Washington.
The Pac-12 is fun, man.
Dude, the
gonna be
Pac-12,
fun.
this year in the Pac-12, this coming up here.
So they close with Michael Penix Jr. and the Washington Huskies.
Yep, at Washington.
Congrats.
Yeah.
Coach DeBoer, yeah. Here's what you've won. Quick, tell them what they've won, Billy.
All right, talking about that. Blake Corum returning from Michigan.
Huge.
We talked about it. I mean, entering week 11, he was my Heisman favorite. He had more rushing yards and touchdowns than the 3 previous running back Heisman Trophy winners, which would be Derrick Henry, Mark Ingram, and Reggie Bush. Gets hurt against, who was that, Illinois, in the Illinois game. Look, he's going to come back, that 2-headed monster at running back with Blake Corum and Donovan Edwards. What are your thoughts?
I mean, you've basically got the whole offense coming back. I mean, you talk about the learning
Not some
curve.
offensive line, though.
You did, but what you've done in the transfer portal, I mean, they're already supplementing it right now.
True.
I mean, again, the learning curve for this team is going to be very short, which makes it so much easier on the coaches. I mean, look, Michigan's here. Like, Michigan's not going anywhere. Make no mistake. Yeah, did they play bad against TCU and lose the game? Yes, but they're not going anywhere. Okay, they're not going anywhere at all.
Blaine?
Surprise, surprise. Michigan's going to be good at running the football, guys.
Yeah.
Going to be anything new? I want to know who's coming back on defense.
Yeah,
At least
they
give up
lose
51 to TCU.
Well,
What do we
here's-
I know they gave up 2 pick six. That's fine. Give up 40 against TCU or 37, 36, whatever it is. Still, I'm not worried about the offense somewhat. JJ, you knew the risk reward that came with JJ. That's why he's a starting quarterback. The ceiling's a lot higher than Cade, but he makes big mistakes. You saw against TCU. Obviously, he's going to come in his junior year, and you're hoping that's fixed, right? He bring in the reins a little bit, all right, with JJ. They're going to be good at running the ball. We'll never question when it comes to Michigan in the regular season in the Big Ten. They're going to win football games, just the way they recruit and who they are. When we get in the playoff, all right, what can get you over the hump, okay? It's great to be able to run the ball and stop the run, but the way your defense played in that game against TCU,
Well, yeah, and
it
just don't
can't
get
happen
cute.
again.
Like, don't get cute.
It can't happen
man.
again.
Let me say one thing about the defense, though. They did reload from losing 2 first-round draft picks, and as far as the TCU game goes, they held them to 37 because the 51, that was 2 pick sixes, which 37 was under TCU's average for the season with Heisman finalists at quarterback. Did they hold them to 7 like we saw last night? No. And it didn't get it. Look, they lost the football game, but I agree with you. I mean, look, all facets of the game need to be better if you want to be able to win in the playoffs, and Michigan knows that.
I mean, basically giving up 7 yards. Your average giving up 7 yards carry.
How about, you want to know what's something crazy real quick? The over-under on DraftKings yesterday for touchdowns for the national championship game was 7.5.
7, yeah.
TCU scored 1 touchdown, and the over got smashed.
Yes, there was.
Georgia wasn't trying to score at the end of the game, boys. They
running
weren't trying
peanut
to
butter and
score.
jelly. They were trying to peanut butter and jelly.
No, just tackle us and the clock will run out. Now, on the 4th and 5, the drive before, they did go for it on 4th and 5. I'm talking about the final drive, where you just hand it off and you're still scoring touchdowns?
Yeah. I mean, look.
That's why I'm glad we're having the 12-team playoff.
You beat the over by yourself, and it was 63.5. Let's really think about that.
And that's
That
what got
puts
me.
it in perspective.
That's what got me. Last one, NBA, KD out for a month, Blaine.
It's the NBA. People get hurt, guys.
I mean, when are we?
We're gonna call KD soft now.
When do
we
we
get hurt?
No, I don't
Here
think-
we go.
No, I don't think.
Here we go. It's
I don't
the
think
NBA.
KD's
These
soft.
guys are all divas.
I don't
These
think
guys
KD's
are
soft.
all divas. They're basically.
I don't think KD's soft. I think he's a snake.
Jafar is a snake.
Yeah,
Let's be
he's
honest,
100%
okay.
Jafar.
He is. But these guys are soft. That's why we need to shorten the regular season down. It'll make it more impactful, especially to watch.
When do we start talking about the NBA? Like, God, I mean, what? How many more weeks? How far away are we from the playoffs?
Well, the Super Bowl's a month away, so.
Okay, good. We still have time. We got to talk about the NBA this summer when you're thugging it out with the bras.
The bras.
All right, that was rapid fire. Here's what I want to do. I'm going to read this. Whatever's here on this fantasy thing.
This fantasy thing?
Yes.
Good. Let's go.
I don't
Let's get this out of the
care
way.
what this
All right,
go
letter
ahead
no,
and crown the right
It
champ.
holds no weight.
What are you talking
at
about?
all.
This is from the
The
commission.
parameters of the commissioner stays with the basic parameters of the app. He can only make the
because
moves
Sleeper put
he
out a
can
tweet that
with
said
the
the
app. That's
commissioner
all he can
discretion.
do.
Here's what. See, Blaine thinks he's in charge.
Yes.
I do not.
Yes.
Yes, you.
I do
Blaine
not
thinks
think
he's
I'm
the
in
commissioner.
charge.
This
But I know
is
what's
from
allowed
the
and not
guy-
allowed.
Hold on,
Did you or
hit the
did you not take the golden tumbler?
No, I didn't. You did, David.
I did not
You
take
did
it.
because you know you lost.
I did not.
Who scored more points?
I did not take the goal per capita. Me.
No,
what is
per
the,
capita.
What does
What
the commissioner's report say?
Here's what
I don't care.
I need you to listen to this, okay?
Clearly don't understand the employer-employee.
The commissioner's not my employer.
Yes, he
Either
is.
of y'all two.
Yes, he is.
Yep.
Yes, he is.
See, you can tell right now. You can tell right now these two little goobers are in it together.
He is a
You
nuclear
can
party.
tell me right
no
now.
dog in the
Are
fight.
you surprised? No.
It
I
feels
tell you,
like-
I'm not.
It
I
feels
can
like-
give.
It feels
could care
like
less.
that energy, that negative
this
energy
say?
right there. I can feel it. Yeah.
Okay. Nervous about what?
What's ever in this letter? I did not write this letter.
You need a lemon and a blow dryer?
Here we go. I don't know where you were going with that second one. But yes. Is there sugar and syrup?
Then yes.
All right. Here we go. Amendment to the Daily Wire Fantasy Football Constitution. This is from the commission.
Hold on. Before you start reading, I'm sorry. I want y'all to know that this was written yesterday.
You don't know that.
I do know that
We
because
signed
I
the
was there
Constitution.
when he was writing it. He wrote that yesterday.
Hold on,
This
hold on,
wasn't
wait, hold on.
Wait.
This
wait.
wasn't.
You were with him when he wrote it?
You were too.
No, I was not.
Yes, you were because I was
That
with
sounds.
you.
That's why I'm telling
I
you,
was
Jake.
with you.
That's why I'm telling you, he's the
wrote this
co-commissioner of the league.
yesterday.
He was co-commissioner
Not before
on the
the
Sleeper
season
app.
started. There was no parameters for the season started.
Slip of the
this
tongue?
was written
Now
yesterday.
I do have a lot of questions.
Yesterday.
Now I have a lot of
This
questions.
Please continue.
First off, like, what does it matter what day it was written? As long
Because it matters because the rules weren't set before the league started.
Yes,
you
yes,
can't.
they were.
The rules
this
weren't
rule
set for
wasn't
game
set.
cancellation?
This rule there wasn't a rule prepared for this. This was written yesterday.
What does it say? What does it say?
Yeah,
Okay,
exactly.
Hakeem Jeffries, am I going to be able to read this or
Don't
what?
ever call me Hakeem Jeffries.
All right.
again.
This amendment to the Crane & Company Daily Wire Fantasy Football Constitution, which we do have, originally signed on August 26, 2022, which we all signed, you remember that, seeks to clarify the process for adjudication of a fantasy football emergency, as defined below. So a fantasy football emergency is defined as any emergency event arising out of unforeseeable circumstances, which I think the DeMar Hamlin thing falls under,
Sure.
which would affect the scoring of any matchup at any point during the season. So here we go. 1.1. In the event of a fantasy emergency, a league dispute must be considered and decided by the Daily Wire Standards for Better Fantasy Commission or the DWSBFC.
The what?
Okay, hold on.
No.
Says 1.2,
This
the
one.
membership of the DWSBFC consists of Ben Shapiro.
No.
Okay.
What does that mean?
Okay, so what it
No.
seems like to me is that this comes down, Ben has to adjudicate it.
The
Ben-
winner of the league.
The
Can
winner
I
of the
see
league.
that?
Ben
Can I
has to
see that?
adjudicate it. Because I don't see where it says
The Daily Wire Standards for Better Fantasy Commissioner.
And there's one
DWF
person in there.
The membership of the DWSBFC consists of Ben Shapiro. This is why you don't make an attorney commissioner, first of all. But second of all, what does that mean? Ben's going to adjudicate
Ben's got to
the winner?
adjudicate it. Ben's the Supreme Court in this situation.
What is?
All right, look, there it is, guys. Look, there it is.
Dude,
It's
It's
on a piece of
The
paper.
commissioner punted.
in my
The commissioner
life.
punted to Ben.
I've never in
He did
my
exactly what Roger Goodell.
The commissioner
always
punted to Ben
does.
Shapiro.
of fantasy.
Wow.
Where one person who scored more points is
My
sitting
players
here,
didn't play.
They did play,
Yeah, that's
David.
the thing, Jake.
David, did your players
Jake,
go on the
Jake,
field?
Jake, that's
David,
the thing
did
about
your
it is,
players
like,
go on the field?
For a matchup, the players have to
Did
play
your
the
players
other
go on
players,
the
you see.
field?
So look, I'll lay
Yes,
myself
they
at the
did.
mercy of Ben Shapiro's
Yes, they
ruling.
did.
I'm fine with that.
We will.
Yes,
we
they did.
have to
That's-
get
The
in
champ
touch
is
with Ben
here.
Shapiro.
And
you won literally nothing.
So now-
how did you win something by
So
scoring
now,
less
can
points?
you at least
your players
bring-
played on the field. It's basically
Can
the
you at
same
least
thing with
bring the
betting.
tumbler back now?
When we do things with betting, what do
Hey,
we do?
you can bring
if
the
your
tumbler back
player
now.
steps on the field, it counts.
can bring the tumbler back
It
now.
sucks to suck, buddy.
Look.
We can bring Ben in here. We can bring Matt Walsh in here. Hell, we can bring God in here and talk about it.
You got his
but
number?
it doesn't matter.
That's going
I
back
talk to him every day. I don't
Blaine,
need his
Blaine,
number.
Blaine, so
I
wait a
d-
minute.
About
So-
an amendment that he wrote up yesterday.
So you decide what matters and doesn't?
The sleeper app does. That's what it does.
You know what the sleeper app said?
Yeah, it called it.
No,
I
give me
pulled
my
up.
phone.
Co-commissioner.
I pulled it.
Give me my
I pulled it up on my
Graphics on
phone.
Sleeper app.
I can pull it up on my phone right now.
Here we
Then
go.
where's
I'll
the
pull it up
tumbler?
right now? Where is the tumbler? Which one of you guys has it?
Yo, boom, let's pull it up right now. Congrats to Michael Knowles on winning the toilet bowl. Sergeant says the 22 season's over. I pull it up, lower bracket. Knowles, congrats. You won the toilet bowl. You went 8-7. Let me scroll up. Oh,
If you win
champion.
the toilet bowl-
Flaming Dragon.
Yeah, I don't know.
10-5.
All right, here's what we got from Sleeper. It said, it says, given these unprecedented circumstances, if the NFL resumes the game at a later time, there will be an option for commissioner tools to rerun Week 17 results. This is an option, not the default. So basically, they
didn't resume the game.
Yeah. Okay. So for the leagues with the outside-the-box solutions, if they want to apply, commissioners are able to edit fantasy points and results after they're saying you do what you want.
There's no outside. We didn't have anything written up for this. That you just written up something yesterday before this. So we can just make stuff up at the end of the season. What fairy tale land? I'm not going to Rainbow Land.
And I'm not sharing the championship.
You just can't make stuff up at the end of fantasy rules to feel better about yourself because your ass hurt, you lost. It sucks. Am I happy about it? No. But it's fantasy. Is it fair? It's not. It's fantasy. That's the way of the road.
You bring the tumbler back. Make sure you bring it over to my seat.
I don't even need the tumbler. Okay? You can have the tumbler. I know I won. Look. If you have a brain that functions correctly, knows I won. Well, but you can live in whatever realm. You can open the wardrobe, walk to Narnia, hang out with a half man, use half goat, and feel great about yourself.
Mr. Tumnus.
But I know, and you know, deep down, I won.
I know that my players outperformed
and it's okay.
Here's what's going to happen. Here's what's going to happen. Ben's going to decide this. Shapiro's going to decide this, and you can accept it or not.
Bring it in, Ben. Come on, Ben. Let's talk about
something else on the line, too.
Please.
The dinner date with the blow-up doll. Don't think we forgot
I'm
that,
not doing that, David.
Yeah, you are.
You're doing it.
Yeah, you are. Get ready.
If I'm doing it, you're doing it.
Get ready with your
yeah, you're doing it. 1,000 wing challenge, you and a blow-up doll.
Dude, guys, how about y'all each bring a blow-up doll and double date?
Stop it.
I'm not.
Shapiro,
you're going.
Shapiro
y'all got a double date with
You're going.
What are they saying in the booster club?
They all agree with me.
All right.
Let me see the thing.
I haven't even looked.
Yeah. There we go. Here, hold this. We're going to let Ben decide. I'm going to head over to the Board of Emotional Truth and Justice.
Did this have a wax seal on it?
Yeah, it did, man. It's like straight out of Game of Thrones. So our Booster Club bets are brought to you today by DraftKings. All right, download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use our code BOOSTER. Remember, new customers, you can bet $5 on the NFL and get $200 in free bets instantly. Only at DraftKings Sportsbook with code BOOSTER. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See show notes for details. Let's go to the board.
I love
Here
that
we go.
enthusiasm.
Thank you. Good day yesterday for the whole squad. We're getting the updated results from our buddy Cody Nason, the king of getting graphic or the graphic king, depending on which part of the court report you look at. So today, it's college basketball. I'm not betting NBA. I'm not doing it. All right, hashtag never again. Give me LSU and Kansas money line. LSU's a dog at home to Florida, and I'm trying to figure out why. I like Castleton, but Florida, to me, really hasn't shown it. LSU, this would be a huge win after beating Arkansas week one of the SEC season, or game one of the SEC season. So give me LSU and those aliens from Kansas money line that's plus 134, and then Auburn and Ole Miss. If there's two things I know in this world, all right, it's that Auburn can't score and Ole Miss can't score. But they both play really good defense, which with my luck, they'll score 837 combined points tonight. But I'm going to take the under Auburn, Ole Miss, at 132.5, that is minus 115. Nothing.
Man, I'll tell you what. I'm going to go some college basketball here too. The state of Kansas is playing some top tier basketball.
Yeah, they are.
So I'm going to take Kansas and Kansas State money line. That's minus 135. And then I want Wisconsin money line. They're hosting Michigan State.
Or Illinois. Is it Illinois or Michigan State?
I'm almost positive Wisconsin hosts Michigan State.
Yeah, I think you're right.
And those odds are minus 105.
Nice. There's some really good college basketball games. If you look at the top 25 matchups, I mean, there's some good basketball on tonight.
Tonight's Tuesday, right?
Yep, tonight is Tuesday.
Wisconsin hosts Michigan State.
Yep.
Wisconsin 11-3, Michigan State 11-4, and that line and Michigan State's favored in that game.
Well, coming off a big win against Michigan, but look, Wisconsin, man, they always play the same way. They always got three white guys that are super fundamental under the goal. They don't wow you with athleticism, but they just beat you fundamentally, right? Triple threat. Where am I going?
Yep.
The read option of basketball. Blaine, what do you got today, bud?
I'm a little hockey two-team. Give me the Lightning and who else did I take? The Penguins.
Yep.
Money line is plus 105, and then give me the Heat and the Raptors money line plus 130. We'll see. Hashtag Giants.
Yep. All right, Baby Cone, he's going to take the Avs tonight, money line at minus 135, and the Winnipeg Jets, got the word win in it, got to feel good about it, at minus 135. Remember, our bets are brought to you by DraftKings. Go use the promo code BOOSTER. We're trying to give you guys free money. I know the economy sucks. We're doing everything that we possibly can to help you guys. All right, Booster Club.
All right, let's go to, let me make sure I didn't miss one before this. I don't think I did. No, I did not. All right, we have a donation from Hose Acontra-Raz.
Nice.
$2 donation.
Nice,
He says, settle the points if the Bills play the Bengals in the playoffs.
See, my 3 players in question already played Week 18. They scored 40 points.
It's different matchups.
More than I needed.
It's different. You just can't take matchups
guys,
from the next
guys.
week and be like, oh, this applies to this week.
Guys, we're
I can do whatever I want because life's not
obviously,
fair.
You
So
can
I
make,
did it,
you
and
can
I'm the
make
champ.
up whatever you want. That doesn't mean it's the
apparently
truth.
you can just take the golden
you
tumbler
walk
like
outside
you
and say
did.
that the sky is purple.
You
for
can,
all
I guess.
care.
Life's not
It
fair.
doesn't matter. You
Life's
can
not
try to
fair.
Stacey Abrams.
So I
this
applied
thing.
those points,
It's not
and
going
I'm
to
the
work.
champion.
It's not going to work.
I can't wait to see what Ben
Pull up
says.
the app.
Ben is going to freak out about this.
I can't wait to see what Ben says.
We need y'all in Ben's all access.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah, we need
getting him
some
hyped up
answers.
for this thing.
All right, the DWSBFC SFCB.
Yeah, good luck saying that. That's how you know an attorney created
That's
this.
exactly right.
All right, let's go to Emmanuel C. What's up, E-Man? He said, listen, I lost my fantasy Super Bowl because Josh Allen and David Singletary had their game canceled when I was 32 points away from winning it all. It sucks, but I didn't have more points. Blaine won. Thank you. Let's find one for David. Let's find one for David in here.
I'm not an unreasonable man. Jake, if I had Tyler Bass playing, which I did, the Bills kicker, and I was down 100 points, I would concede.
Yeah.
I would concede. Not going to do it.
So
not
you're
going to
basing this
do it.
off what?
Projected to win the entire
the
matchup,
same guy
Jake.
who sat in this chair and said projections don't what,
The entire
David?
matchup.
Projections don't what?
Don't
matter.
They don't guarantee you a win.
But now, all of a sudden, we're going to start leaning on projections.
Well, I think it's worth bringing up. It's not like I was.
How's it worth bringing up if you sat there and said they don't matter?
To win. I'm not.
So now they don't matter, but now they're worth bringing up.
And the commissioner,
how long have you been a Democrat?
The commissioner needs to decide. The commissioner needed to show some leadership. I expected nothing less from a commissioner here to show weakness and to punt the ball to be.
I feel like your guys' anger is misguided. You're both competitive people. All right, you want to beat each other, I understand, but I would be mad at the commissioner.
I am, and you know what?
I'm mad at everybody in the situation.
I'll tell you who won't punt on the situation.
That's not a good...
I'm mad at everybody in the situation because we're dragging this out
That's
for no reason.
horrible answer.
For no reason.
You're mad at everyone?
We're dragging this out for no reason. And I get it. I get it. I get it to a certain extent. But at the end of the day, I don't care. I don't care who y'all bring. You can bring down Thor. Zeus.
No, Thor,
it doesn't matter.
Thor and
you
Zeus
bring
came down
Steve
here.
Jason here.
Thor and
so
Zeus came down here.
How about John Brinkus? How about John Brinkus?
How about John Brinkus?
How about John Brinkus? Now you got him. Now you got him. Now you got him.
John Brinkus.
Well, that's John Brinkus in here.
Well, look.
I'll start listening.
Yeah, we get John Brinkus in here and start talking about, how steroids don't help people hit it further.
Speaking of which, if there was a council
John would be
of Ben Shapiro, John Brinkus, and Chuck Norris to adjudicate a situation, that's unbeatable.
That's true.
That's binding.
I'd be nervous in front of that.
I'm going to be honest with you.
That's binding.
That sounds like the start of a new religion, is what that sounds like to me. All right, a couple more from the Booster Club.
All right, let's go to Reed Rickett. Reed says, Jake put tape on their mouths. Jeez. Why is your wife being mean to us?
Look, Reed, you can't say that out loud.
Texas said, Cone takes a doll to dinner and Blaine wears a diaper and a pacifier to the show. No one wants to.
I don't want to see that. I don't want to see that.
Nobody wants to
It's
see
like I'm
that.
getting off pretty
Jeez.
easy.
Ross Bryan says, #AskCrandon Can I get a shout out to my granddad, a.k.a. Chief? We always watch the show together because he's been in the hospital with heart problems for a while and just got discharged yesterday.
All right.
Great, he got discharged. Chief, what is up, man?
Shout
What's
out,
up, my
Chief.
friend, bro?
Hey, keep feeling better. Glad you're out. Glad you got discharged. We're all thinking about you, man. We really appreciate you guys. Ross, thanks for letting us know about that. Chief, you the man.
Pants to my tit.
I know it's hard.
Go ahead.
It's hard. Just
Pants
say
to
it.
my tit says, love you, Blaine. I love you too. Right High says, will you grow your beard out and start living on a street corner and yell at kids at night? I would love to. I do that anyways.
He calls that Thursday.
Yeah, I do that anyways. Let's go to Cone's High Water Pants. Can't wait for this one. In the event that the two team owners in the championship are acting like baby men, throwing tantrums, refusing to be adults, the third place team wins the golden tumbler. You think this is bad? Give you the third place team.
Don't let him team up.
I'll burn this place.
Yeah, it's not even dragon. Thank God it's not Friday. All right, one more.
Travis Elrod says Ben Shapiro is an actual lawyer. He should adjudicate this.
Yes.
Yep.
God, what did you say?
Is this all access today?
No, that's
Thursday.
No, that's a whole different day.
yeah. It's like an entire different day.
Where are you?
Steve Parker said this is better than the best hits of Robin Williams, Dane Cook, Andrew Dice Clay, Richard Pryor, Steve Martin, Will Ferrell, Caddyshack, Animal House, Chris Farley, Belushi, etc. My day is made. Good, Steve.
Good. See, thank you.
That.
That's
That's
how
Chris Farley.
That's a hell of a
You know what?
group right
Actually,
there,
read
fellas.
another one. What else is in there?
Wow.
Anybody else anything
Devin21
good?
says, I turn on the show and Blaine's just yelling at people. Lovely thing to turn on the first thing in the morning. Look, it's nothing like starting the morning with low violence.
You're
Yeah,
awake now.
people should have their alarm clock set to Blaine screaming,
You're awake.
bullying them.
Yeah.
Blaine, what did you say last night during the live stream? Talking about
What?
the pros of bullying.
Oh, just look, when they
What
say
did
the
you say?
grass isn't always green on the other side, when it comes to bullying, it is. You're only making people better. All right? To a certain extent.
Explain.
If some
To what
kids-
extent?
Some kids deserve to get bullied. Or not. You know why? We have people pretending to be wolves
Tell
and kittens and dogs. I walked by someone the other day and they're running on all fours. Someone should have bullied that person.
The
You know
problem
why?
is-
Because they wouldn't be doing that.
them about your best friend.
Yeah, my best friend, we call him Slick Rick. I'm not gonna give out his real name. But look, he growing up, he was a fat kid. All right, we called him Skip a Step. He was our starting left tackle. Make fun of him on the regular. Made fun of me too for certain things, and I got better. Now he's just 230 pounds, 6'2". So lawyer, got a girlfriend. You shaped his life by ridiculing him all the time. He was scared to be fat. He was scared to be fat because he knew in the back of his head,
Can you imagine?
it's me.
Can you just imagine?
And that's true
if
friendship.
like an infomercial came on for Blaine's bullying supplement, where it's not anything you actually take, it's just recordings of Blaine making fun of you. Like it
you
just
give
makes
me-
me think of White Goodman from Dodgeball, like 100.
Can you give me an example
wanted
of something
to
you
do that.
said to Slick Rick?
No, I don't know if we can say this.
Yeah, so I can give you a real example. Walking past in school, you know. Blaine, what's up? Ew. Just keep walking by. He's gonna think about that for hours.
And y'all were friends.
He's gonna think about
You want to talk about their
his
conditioning in
best
football?
friend.
Y'all,
Imagine how he treated his enemies.
You want to talk about conditioning in football? You got that clock. You have to make it to a certain time. You want to talk about almost to the point of physically harming someone?
Yeah, motivation.
You want to talk about fixing a?
You better
skip a
get there in
You better
time.
run or
Yeah.
wait till we get back in that locker room.
Yeah.
News team assemble. We're about to beat your ass.
Yeah, that's exactly right. All right, we appreciate you guys. Make sure you subscribe. Check us out on all social media. It's at Crane Company on Twitter. Keep sharing the show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, all that stuff. Again, shout out to the team last night for an unbelievable live stream. We appreciate you guys. And like the chances of TCU really doing anything against Georgia, they're still gone.